And a sunny start to this brand new week. It is the 17th of August, 10 minutes past the hour of 8 o'clock. Joining us this morning is Crawford County Sheriff Nick Hoke. Good morning, sir. How are you today?
Morning, guys.
Hey, good to see you.
Nice to be seen.
It's been a while since you've been on
I know.
This
you
program.
You should invite me more often.
Well, Andy keeps booking you.
Well, I know, and I feel bad. I thought Andy was going to have something to say to me this morning there when he knew I was here because he thinks I'm ducking him.
Hey, congratulations. President of the Sheriff's Association.
Yes, sir.
Talk about that honor. You said during the break there that it's the first time that somebody in this area has had
It's been a long time since we've had a president from Northwest PA. Bob Mursky was the last one that I'm aware of, and that was the 2007-2008 year. So it's quite an honor, and the first time a Crawford County Sheriff has been elected president of the association. The association's been around 93 years.
Wow.
This is our 93rd conference, and I started working my way up through kind of like the chairs. You get elected to the executive committee, and then as you move on to the board, we have a second vice president, first vice president, and then president. So I've been involved in the association since I took office in 2008, and 3 years later got elected to the executive committee and then worked my way up to this July where I was elected president. And it's really an honor.
Yeah, it's quite an honor. I think that speaks of your dedication to your job and just the passion you have and the love of what you do.
This is much more than just a trade association, I take it.
Yes, we're very active. Our goal is to promote the office of sheriff in the state of Pennsylvania. We try to pass legislation or work on legislation that affects the office of sheriff. And since I've been in office, we've had two bills introduced to try to restore the authority that the sheriff has always had under common law. But a variety of cases over the years have been taken as far as the Supreme Court to the point where the Supreme Court said, it needs to be legislated. It needs to be written in law. So we didn't think that'd be a big deal, and I don't think the Supreme Court thought it was going to be a big deal either. But we very quickly got a bill introduced in 2008 to do just that, to restore our authority. If you look at the Crimes Code in Pennsylvania, the definition of a police officer is Pennsylvania State Police Trooper, a municipal police officer under Act 120, or the sheriff and his deputies of a second-class county. Now, the only second-class county is Allegheny County, and they were able to get an amendment some years back in the 90s, I believe, maybe even before. But we feel that all the sheriffs should have that same authority. We all raised our hand, and I took an oath many years ago when I started my career when I was 20 years old in law enforcement, and I raised my hand and I took an oath, and I took almost the identical oath in 2008 when I became sheriff, and that is to protect the citizens that rely on us in the county, to uphold the laws of the country and of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. But unfortunately, we have now been told by the Supreme Court you need to get it written in law. So that's what we're desperately trying to do, and that's one of the goals that I'm going to continue that effort.
So is this something you work with local legislators with, or?
We do. The first bill that was introduced in 2007, House Bill 466, I actually, at that time, John Evans, Brad Roy, and Michelle Brooks all were co-signers to that bill. Unfortunately, I learned a lot about how things work in Harrisburg, and they don't work.
Or not.
Or not work, exactly. That House bill went to the Judiciary Committee, and we had a full-blown hearing, which not a lot of bills that get in there go to the point where there's a hearing. And what we found out, unfortunately, at that hearing was that everybody and their brother was against, especially our law enforcement partners. We were very shocked to find that the Pennsylvania State Police, the Troopers Association, the State FOP, the State Chiefs of Police, the DA's Association, the Commissioners Association, all in opposition of the sheriff having his law enforcement authority restored. Almost exclusively their first concern was our training, that we weren't trained as well. And we were able to show them over the period of the next year. We sat down and met with each of those groups that opposed us, and we were able to show them that our training is almost identical to the Act 120 training that I took in 1977. So that kind of assisted with some of that opposition, and some of that opposition fell off. We introduced another bill, I believe, in 2009. That House bill had a labor component, so it went into the Labor Committee. Again, that committee had held hearings, 4 hearings across the state. I actually testified at a hearing in Erie. And unfortunately, it never made it out of committee. And what I found out was that the chairman of each of these committees has the sole discretion as to what piece of legislation is going to get out for a vote on the House. And unfortunately, neither of our bills have made it. But we're still working hard. There's some legislation, again, in the Judiciary Committee right now, but nothing's being done until the budget's taken care of. So we're hoping that some of the bills that affect the sheriff and eventually affect the citizens here in our county and across the Commonwealth will hopefully get something passed.
Certainly understandable. You can see why you were elected president. Again, it seems like you've got that passion, that knowledge, and that energy to get in there and not just wait your turn for something, but to say, you know what, here's a situation where I can step up as a leader in my field and help drive the things that are important to sheriffs across the state. And you can certainly, again, easily see why you were elected president. Well, so congratulations on that.
Nice words. I really appreciate that.
They come once in a great while. So, you've been in the position as sheriff for almost 8 years now. What sort of things have you done locally that maybe hasn't been done in a while?
Well, I think each sheriff, there's only been 2 before me in the last 32 years. Howard Stewart, who just passed away recently, was sheriff for 16 years. And then Bob Stevens, whose place I took, was sheriff for 16 years. It's ironic that both of those sheriffs came from the Meadville City Police Department, and they retired as sergeants. And I guess I followed right in along with them because I retired from the Meadville Police Department in 2006 as a sergeant.
Now, what about that 16 thing, though? Are you going to hang out longer than 16?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
I'm having a good time. My health is good. I got a great staff, so we're going to make that decision in a few years. Right now, I'm running for re-election for my 3rd term. I'm unopposed. So we'll see, how things shake out. But right now, I'm just working. My concentration this year is president of the association and try to move things along for all the sheriffs, not just my office. But when you ask what we've done, I think every sheriff, every person that fills the shoes of someone else hopes to move that on to progress that positively. And I'm sure Howard did that when he took office from, who was the sheriff before Howard? Al Garill. And I think Bob did that, moved the office forward from Howard, and I think that was my goal. Technology's played a big role. We've been able to get some software in the office that makes it easy for the deputies and for my office staff to do what they need to do. Sheriff sales, especially, the real estate manager that I have now. She actually worked for the sheriff's office 20-some years ago.
Wow! And
she recalls foreclosure sales at that time of maybe 40 a year. We're doing around 250 to 300 a year now.
Holy cow!
She's literally overwhelmed. And if it wasn't for this technology, I would need at least 2 more staff, I would say, for her to be able to do those things. And again, that's just the way, a lot of things we do are geared on society and the economy and things like that. I mean, when the economy's bad, we see more crime. One of the things that we're tasked with are servants of the court. We protect the courthouse, the courtrooms. We're in every hearing that happens in any of the 3 courts. We transport prisoners. Our jail's 6 miles away, so we make 3, 4, 5 trips to the county jail each day. And like I said, when the economy's bad, when crime increases, we're certainly a lot busier. One of the things I'm very proud of is our warrants. When I took office, we had around 850 warrants, outstanding bench warrants. With some simple tools, we were able to bring that down to, I think we're down around 350 now.
Really?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I think one of the things I did was, early on, was looked at, geez, I wonder how many of these, some of these warrants are old. We had a warrant that from Forest County that dated back to the 80s, and the guy owed $10, I think, over in Forest County. So one of the things we did was we looked at warrants from other counties. We got back with those counties to see if, in fact, they still were active. I found a website to the Social Security Administration where we could run a name, date of birth, and Social Security number and find out whether the person's deceased or not. We took about 100 of those 850 right off the bat that the folks had been deceased. And then we started the Most Wanted. Boy, what a great program. I didn't reinvent the wheel. I copied my good friend Bob Mursky in Erie. Bob's been doing a Most Wanted with the Erie Times for years, and it was successful. So we thought we'd give it a try. So I called my good friends at the Meadville Tribune, and boy, they were right away. Let's do it. So every Tuesday, tomorrow morning, we'll have our next Most Wanted, I think. And I wished I'd have talked to my chief deputy before I came over. He's got the figures. But we've got about an 85% success rate.
Really?
And we've been doing this now for over 4 years. Every Tuesday, we'll add a new face.
And I'm sure, and we've seen it online, the social media aspect of it has really helped. Folks are sharing pictures very quickly.
It started with the Meadville Tribune's Facebook page. They'd actually add that to their Facebook page like the night before, Monday night at maybe 10:30. We'd come in the morning, and we'd already have tips of where the person might be before we even open the office up. It's just social media's. I'm not a big social media fan because it's too complicated, but what a great tool. I mean, people are able to communicate in a variety of ways. We have a Facebook page, the Tribunes. I work with Cool 101, and we're on the radio every Tuesday morning. And a lot of times when I go on the air at 8 o'clock, there's been a few times where we've already had a guy picked up.
Now, Chief Thomas echoes pretty much the same thing. He hates, Facebook, using it personally, but in terms of the job, it's really, he says, it's fantastic for getting the word out and the message
absolutely.
out. So, did you feel like when you first became sheriff that there was a period where you just sort of had to maybe get an idea of what that position held before you started to change things, or did you feel as soon as you got in there,
That's an understatement. Let me tell you, I had a lot of law enforcement experience. So going in, I understood that side of the job, I thought. Didn't know about the Supreme Court ruling in late 2007 when I was actually elected. So it wasn't until the first meeting that I had with the Pennsylvania Sheriff's Association in February or early March. We have what we call a meet and greet. It's kind of like a winter conference where all the new sheriffs that have been elected are invited in, and we give them some education on some things. And that's when I found out that my law enforcement experience wasn't that big a concern because the Supreme Court had really restricted what we're able to do. But learning what we do in the office as far as the administrative side, that was a learning experience. And again, I couldn't have done it. And that's what's so great about the Pennsylvania Sheriff's Association. I picked up the phone and called Bob Mursky in Erie, and I never met Bob before, and introduced myself. And he said, "Son, what do you need? I'll help you."
Wow.
He told me to reach out to Bob Wolfgang down in Forest County. I had already known Larry Kopko up in Warren County. And I reached out to these guys, and anything that I needed, they were able to give me good advice, steer me in the right direction if they didn't have the for sure answer. Through the sheriff's conferences, I've met with vendors where we found the software that we use in the office was at a vendor show. So we just take advantage of anything that's out there that's new. We've got tasers now, which is something that wasn't part of our equipment when I took office, but I think a very crucial part. I had the support of the President Judge Vadero. We needed a less than lethal option, especially in the courtrooms, and that was an ideal
And you've been pretty busy lately in the courtrooms.
Oh, we have.
Well, at least in the commissioner meetings.
Well, we've, I know the folks that come to those meetings pretty well. We've never had an issue.
And they've never had an issue with you. And you've been, and just watching the video, you've been very, very respectful and very kind.
That's just the way we work. I've got to. I gotta put a plug in for my staff. A lot of people say, "Boy, Sheriff, you're doing a great job," and I tell them, I steer the ship, but my staff is the ones that are out there doing the hard work, and they do a fantastic job. I've got retired police officers that I don't want to call them old, but seasoned, and I've got young deputies that have been in law enforcement for just a few years, but they're great guys and girls. They're very respectful. They treat people with respect, and that goes a long way. I mean, my chief deputy has a lot of contacts. I have two deputies that are on the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force.
Wow.
They're sworn U.S. Marshals. We work very closely with them, and they work great with us. They bring assets to the game that we could never imagine when it comes to intelligence gathering, when it comes to manpower, when we do a warrant sweep, or when we're looking for somebody in particular, and they call on us. And my chief has had great informants through just being respectful with the folks we work with, and we've been able to assist in solving a lot of very serious crimes. So I'm very proud of what my guys do.
We're here with the Sheriff Nick Hoke. This is the Morning Drill on Stream Television and the Allegheny News Talk Sports Network.
It looks like we're coming up to the bottom of the hour, but just quickly, you've talked an awful lot about the things that you've accomplished, especially coming into office. If you could look into the crystal ball, what kind of challenges do you see coming up?
Ooh, I never looked into the crystal ball before.
Well, the fair's next week, so stop by and...
Yeah.
Most immediate.
Let me get a doughboy and think about that. There's always challenges, across the country. We're looking at, unfortunately, a relationship with law enforcement in certain aspects of the community that is very tense right now. And I think those are some of the things that we have to work with, from grassroots here in little old Crawford County to major police agencies. It's something that is important. You have to be respectful, but you also have to do your job. And sometimes it's always been a frustration of mine that police officers make split-second decisions. I mean, literally seconds to make a decision, sometimes life and death decisions, and then attorneys and people in general have the luxury of weeks and months and sometimes years to decide that maybe you didn't do the right thing. So, I encourage, you look at law enforcement. I've been in law enforcement my whole life. And I'm very proud of the profession, and I think we get a bad rap. And I think that's that very, very minute portion that do the wrong thing, that do a bad job, that shouldn't be in the job, but they're getting all the press and
making you guys look bad.
Yeah, and then unfortunately, sometimes everybody thinks that we're that way, and it's just not the case.
You mentioned working with other counties. You mentioned Erie and Warren Forest, a little bit of Venango. Do you find that the challenges in Crawford are the same challenges in the neighboring counties, or is it a different situation in each county?
No, I'm sure there's certain counties that have unique concerns. You look at Allegheny County as one of the bigger sheriff's offices. Philadelphia's got 500 deputies. They have 100 courtrooms that they run. We all deal with those kinds of things. And I think society-wise, we're all pretty much dealing with the same issues. And Crawford County has drug problems. And that's just, there's no way around it. You can't bury your head in the sand and say it's not there.
Right.
Titusville knows from experience when we had the huge problem with meth that those types of situations are nationwide, and they truly affect the quality of life in our community. So those are some of the things that we really work to try to, and I work well. I've really tried to foster the relationship that the sheriff's office has with local law enforcement, with the state police, with all the county police agencies, and then again we reach out to other counties. Counties will call us. They know how successful our program is with Most Wanted. And it's not unusual for us to run a most wanted for Mercer County, Venango County, Jefferson County, because the person could be in Crawford County, or at least they have pretty good information that they are, and they know how successful our program is. So it's great that we can all work together, and that's what it's all about. We're all in this same fight together, and that's why I'm so adamant about the sheriff's authority and having that restored.
We're here with Sheriff Nick Hoke. Congratulations, President of the Sheriff's Association.
Thank you.
And we're proud of you.
Thank you very much.
Don't be a stranger. It's been like 16 years since you've been on, so we got to get you back on more regularly.
You said you've only been here 4.
Well, yeah.
It changes
Well,
every
here,
time we
it
have this
does.
conversation.
It's like in dog years.
That's
I haven't
right.
been here in 16 years.
Sheriff, great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Alrighty, news is next.
Between love and hate, is you really real or is you really fake? Come on, so